Hello children, now this is our continuing video in which we will discuss about the progress in the 19th century and the changes in the world economy. So the 19th century starts from 1815 till 1914 and the world changed profoundly in the 19th century. Economists identify three types of interconnected movements or flows. We can also say these movements as flows within international economic changes. These flows are, this is the first one. The first is the flow of trade, which in the 19th century referred largely to trade in goods. Goods means clothes or wheat. And the second is the flow of labor. Flow of labor means migration of people in search of employment. And third one is movement of capital for short-term or long-term investment over long distances. So these are the three flows which were closely interwoven and affected people's life more deeply now and ever before. The interconnections could sometimes be broken. For example, when labor migration was often more restricted than goods or capital flows, yet it helps us understand the 19th century world economy better if we look at the three flows together. What these flows: flow of labor, and flow of movement of capital. Now come to the next shaping of the world economy. So the 19th century, Britain lacked self-sufficiency in food due to uncontrolled growth of population and expansion of urban centers and industries. And because of this, the prices of food grains increased and people started importing food from other countries to fulfill their needs. Because it was cheaper, importing was cheaper than production. The government promulgated the corn laws to restrict the import of corn. The government imposed corn law because they were unhappy with food prices. Industrialists and urban dwellers forced the abolition of the corn law. The industrialists as well as urban dwellers. Finally, the corn laws were abolished and this brought about a lot of changes in the British economy. And now what are these changes? We will see here. What are these changes? First one is food could be imported into Britain at much cheaper rates. First is import of goods, food crops at cheaper rates. Secondly, British agriculture failed to compete with the imports. And third, vast areas of land were left uncultivated due to import of food grains from other countries. The areas of land in Britain were left uncultivated. As thousands of people became unemployed, it triggered off migrations overseas. And as a result of import of food grains, import of corns, the thousands of people became unemployed in Britain and they were migrated overseas. Okay, now the role of technology. Next point is role of technology. Technology improves. Railways, telegraphs and steamships triggered the economic growth in the 19th century. Technological changes were often the result of larger political, social and economic factors. It results in technological changes. This was further stimulated by colonization that encouraged new investments and improvements in transport, faster railways, larger ships, etc. that helped move food faster and cheaply from farms in America, Australia or New Zealand to final markets in Europe. So improvement in communication, improvement in transportation. It helps in movement of food, and the rates were very cheap. Development of refrigerated ships enabled the transport of perishable food items like meat over long distances. This reduced the shipping cost and lowered the meat prices in Europe. Then the next is late 19th century colonism. Better living conditions and nutritious diet promoted social peace within the country and supported imperialism abroad that brought many colonized societies into the world economy, though through painful economic, social, and ecological changes. They come together, trade flourished, and markets expanded in the late 19th century. In the late 19th century, the trade between the countries and markets expanded during that period. Then Britain and France made vast additions to their territories overseas. They expand their territories. Belgium and Germany became the new colonial powers, and the US in the late 1890s. These are the main powers. Then next is Rinderpest or the cattle plague. In 1980s in Africa, in the 1890s, a fast spreading disease of cattle plague, or its other name is Rinderpest, had a terrifying impact on people's livelihoods and the local economy. This is a good example of the widespread European imperial impact on colonized societies. It shows how in this era of conquest, even a disease affecting cattle reshaped the lives and fortunes of thousands of people and their relations with the rest of the world. It started in East Africa and soon spread to the other parts of the continent by 1892, and within 5 years reached the southernmost tip. It spread through infected cattle imported from British Asia to the Italian soldiers invading in East Africa. It almost killed 90% of the cattle that destroyed African livelihood but strengthened the colonial government power, and the Africans were forced into the labor market and became their slaves. Then come to the next point, endangered labor migration from India. Endangered labor means bonded labor under contract to work for the employer for a specified amount of time to pay for his passage home or a new country. It means the laborers which are bonded under control of some government to work for their employees, and their wage rate is also low. During this migration of endangered labor also started from India and China to the plantations in the Caribbean, Mauritius and Fiji, and in mines and rail and road construction projects around the world. These endangered laborers were engaged in Caribbean, Mauritius and Fiji, and for the work in mines, railways, road construction projects, etc. Tamil migrants went to Ceylon and Malaya. Recruitment was done by agents employed by the company who were paid a small commission. Agents were paid commissions for the recruitment of endangered labor. The laborers lived under harsh conditions and had no legal rights because they treat the bonded laborers as their slaves. The employer treat the laborers as slaves. Often they were not told about the long voyage, and unwilling migrants were forcibly abducted by the agents. Indian nationalist leaders opposed this system, and after a long wait, it was abolished in 1921. This system was abolished in 1921.